Hello, once again. I am Jerry Dreesen, the AOPP Executive Director, and I want to welcome you to this week's Thursday Live. And we're going to be going through our 5-part/6-part series, the who, what, when, where, and why. And we are going to be talking about the where to use PEMF. And so what I want to do is kind of start out with there's really two parts to this, and the where to use it is going to be. I kind of broke it up into two things. There's like, where are you when you're using it, and where do you use it? And for today, I talk more about the human side on what's going on, but just for time, it can either be a human, it can be a large animal, a small animal. Those are all parts of our certification program that we have, where you can get certified in all of these areas, so you can do sessions on them. So with that, let's get started on where to use PEMF. And again, it's the area or / building, and it's the body. So let's start with the area. Where can you use this? Can you be outside? Can it be raining? There's all kinds of questions, in the extreme heat, in the extreme cold. Just remember, your PEMF machine it's a device, and it's going to be affected based on the type of environment that it's in. So you want to make sure that it's doing well, and so you want to make sure that it has a good source of power. Even though some of you now have digital, some of the analogs, they'll actually kind of slope up and down based on the power feed that's coming in. So if you're in like somebody's house current, that may go up or down. That's something to consider. And so when you're working with something, what's the plug-in? What are you plugging into? Where's the source of power coming from? Are you using actual electrical 110 outlet, or are you bringing in your own battery system like a Jackery? There are some really great sources of power if you're going remote. So those are all things to look into, but also test them out. Make sure everything's working right. I know that some people have portable batteries, and they charge them overnight and the battery didn't work. So what's your backup plan? And then where you are. So if you are in an environment, if you're outside, if you're doing a trade show or something like that, or you're doing a outdoor event, make sure you've got a covering if you can. If it's a great day out and it's sunshiny, doesn't matter. You're fine doing that. But I'm just saying, like here in the Northwest, it could be sunny 1 hour and rainy the next hour without knowledge of something coming through. So make sure that you have yourself prepared. Make sure that your system's working. And again, make sure you have a surge protector. There's been some instances where there's been some sort of a power surge going through, and the machine wasn't protected. So protect your assets. And then each machine, make sure you're working with a manufacturer. They'll have certain requirements to make sure that you don't void their warranty if there is one. So make sure you go through your paperwork and double check to make sure that that's going on. That's it about the machines themselves, as far as where you can go with that. So the next thing that I would want to talk about is the body, as far as the different systems. So I think generically there is these 4 components. There's going to be some type of skin, some type of bone, some type of muscle, some type of joints. unless of course you're going for how PEMF first started, and that was the germination of seeds. So, you'd be working on the soil and the seed and things like that to get your seeds started. So, for me, looking at all of the different types of pathologies that are out there, this is why I really like PEMF, because it does good for a lot of these things. For example, cuts and bruises on the skin. I have yet to do this, but I would be really interested in setting up like a burn trauma system where PEMF can be put over the area of the burn to begin creating the right types of tissue as far as the healing. Another one that I think would be really good are amputees. I've got a friend that creates the boot that fits over the area of the amputee, but the problem is after the amputation, there's a lot of swelling, and so the boot is rebuilt, 3 or 4 times as the appendage changes in its shape and size. And I think that PEMF could play a vital role on that, especially if it's a leg or a knee that's being replaced or amputated. It'll make the ability to stand on that joint a lot easier as it heals. So that's something to think about, which kind of drops us into bone. Again, FDA approved for healing fractures. So great thing about PEMF is that it can be put over the cast, right over the break area, and it'll begin to increase the cellular movement of these what are called osteoclasts and osteoblasts. So an osteoclast is a cell that inside the bone that chews up the old bone, and the osteoblast lays down new bone, and it helps with that system. And again, we talked earlier about ATP, so it also increases the amount of gasoline for the osteoclast and osteoblast to use, so it can speed up the healing. So on the bone side, I also threw arthritis in there too. I mean, it's kind of arthritis is a soft tissue injury, but it also involves the joints and the bones. So I would definitely recommend using a PEMF on anything that's arthritic. Again, double check, make sure the person has medication and things like that. PEMF will help the absorption of the medication, so you gotta just double check on that information too, and make them aware of that. If it's okay if they have like a 10-15% increase absorption of whatever medication they are on, or we always have them drink water. And in fact, here in the AOPP, as members will know, there is a downloadable checklist that you can go through. This is one that we have printed out at our clinic right in front of the PEMF device. So anytime anybody sits down, there's this checklist that we go through. And it's a good thing to have if you're out traveling, have it laminated. And that way you can make sure you're doing all of the things that are needed. There's a pre-treatment talk on this. These are all resources that are available for our members. But let's jump back in again to where we want to use PEMF. So we talked a little bit about the skin, how it increases the processes for bruising, getting everything working properly. I've used it on my biggest one that I wished I had on film was a person that just had surgery, had a tooth pulled, and the side of the face was really swollen. And we put the small double ring right over the area, and we literally saw the swelling go down with 20 minutes of using the PEMF device. I didn't expect that to happen. I thought we were just going to put the PEMF device on there and help reduce some of the pain that he was having. But the fact that it went in and helped heal it even faster was good. Which brings us to, the different types of people and who they are, what's being worked on. Again, that checklist, you have to make sure you're working on an area that has a device, an implanted device. If they're wearing hearing aids, if they've got their key fob on the inside of their front pocket, make sure they take it out and remove it. So if you're going to be using it on their back or low back, so again, make sure wherever you're putting the device that there isn't some sort of an artificial electronic system in the path of that PEMF, or at all. Sometimes, we use best practices. It's better to say no than to say whoops, if you think about that, because you can be working on a leg or something and they might hold it up for just a second. Now they've got it focused over their heart and they might have a pacemaker. So it's not necessarily, it's like, well, I could put it on an ankle that's far enough away from, any cochlear implant and stuff. I would agree it is, but during that transition, or if they aren't thinking and they lift it up, they go, okay, where do you want me to put this? And it might be on. So those are the things that can happen, and that's why we got to be careful. Muscles, the interesting thing about the muscles is that they are more sensitive to PEMF, and that's where you'll see the pulsating on an ankle or a knee where it's a bony object. A lot of humans, I can't vouch for the animals, but a lot of humans don't even feel it. And they go, I can't feel this at all. Can you crank it up? And that you got to be careful, because it can cause a reaction where they're sore later. And I've talked over and over ad nauseum about, the spine, where you have to be careful. You got to stick with your guns, start low, start slow, and build up from there. It's always easier to go up to versus having them have a reaction and you can't remove that. They have to go through that reaction now, whether it's more pain, more stiffness, or it's over an area that has an injury. That injury causes more inflammation. So, be real careful with that. But again, muscle, I really like working over the muscle areas because there's such a fast resupply of energy to a muscle. And like I said, I've gone to powerlifting events, and after somebody's done working out or done their event, I'll put the PEMF over the areas of the body where they've done their lifting, and it refreshes their body. And I had one guy say, I felt like I feel like I've just come in off the street before I started my event. And this is after he did a competition of hack squats. So it's really good for that. And also, again, it's the wow factor. I've gone to nutrition stores and set up and, talked about, it's the whole, what is PEMF? This is what it is. This is what it does. Let's do 2 minutes on, where you're hurting. And then, of course, I have this little checklist that I go through with them and make sure that I can do it, because I've got a pacemaker, or I've got a cochlear implant, and it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, we can't do that on you, which is rare. It's very rare. 90% of the people you're working on don't have any issues. But then I'll when I'm doing a demonstration, I'll turn it on and I'll say, talk about how you can hold it, and I'll set it slightly above like one of their large muscles, usually their quad. And I talk about how it's not an electrical current. This is not a TENS unit. This is not interferential. In fact, I can hold it right above your leg, an inch above it, and you'll feel it. And they do. And I said, this is a magnetic pulse. This is not electrical. If it was electrical, I'd have to put some goop on your leg, and I'd have to set it directly on that goop. And it would have to be device onto skin. And now we're over your clothes. And again, in our clinic, what's nice about that is you don't have to gown up. It's not a procedure where you have to be hidden from using it. And the other part of that is people get to be exposed to PEMF and using it over a muscle area. If they've got a bad back or a bad leg or a bad knee or wrists or arms, we put it over the area, and then they wiggle around, and then we call it the what the heck moment. They go, what the heck? What is this again? And then, you start the conversation. And that's what's really cool about it. And now we've got a lot of sports celebrities that are using it. And so you've probably seen Shaq's endorsement, but you can probably pull up some of these sports people, and you can have them like in your little cluster of people on your poster when you're out there, because that has a lot to do with uh, who's out there and who's using it can help you with what you've got going on. Hi, Hazel. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. And then next on our list here, I've gone through the skin, the bone, the muscles, and then the joints. And that's probably one of the biggest ones. There's a gentleman who went to way back in the day, went to this thing called PEMF, and he and his wife tried it out. She had these shoulders that she couldn't lift at all. They were like frozen, and she used it on her arms and shoulders, and she was able to lift her arm straight up after using this device on her shoulder. And he called me up. He goes, "You got to check this out." And I hadn't heard of it. This is back in the day when it was like hardly ever known to anybody. And I checked it out, and it was amazing. But what it can do for joints in my clinic, I'll use it on especially the low back. I have the big pad on a chair that they sit on, and I have it's kind of fun. It puts smiles on people's faces because they stand up and they feel better. And I know that it's not an analgesic. I didn't give them an aspirin. They're better because the cellular structure in that area is better. It is changing. It's doing what it needs to do. It's like a time machine, I guess, where they can get better faster. Their tissue gets better quicker because there's more focus on what's going on in that area, and all that cellular structure where it would take days or weeks are now moving faster and getting things done quicker. So again, when you're using it on the body, just, again, make sure they're drinking water before and after so they can flush out some of that stuff so they don't get headachy using it. I think that is it on the body, and that kind of covers our where to use PEMF on those areas. And again, on animals, same thing. What's great about animals is they walk up to you after they've had it done. They know it. They know that it's great. Oh, nice. Let me throw this one up here. This is from one of our YouTube lives. Rob, I just had a total hip replacement, and I've been using the PEMF on my leg to help with the rod in the bone to heal, and on the incisions works wonders. Exactly. So you know what it's all about. I mean, you're a firsthand user. A lot of people haven't had a chance to experience it on something as major as hip surgery, but being able to use that, what's great about that is you're going to be strong and moving faster, and then you just keep using it on the area as it heals up. So thank you for sharing that, Rob. As we go down through our system, again, I'm kind of skipping over a few things. Go back into our archive on Facebook or on YouTube, and you can look up our 3-part series that I did on the brain, the bone, and the body. These are the wheres on PEMF. So I'm kind of skirting through this one part of our series because we also have it listed on some other ones, which is my way of saying go check out our other stuff too. And again, if you want to know more about how to do all of these things, go through our certification courses where you learn all about that. And we've got one for humans, one for large animals, one for small animals, and then just a general. Those of you that are like, what is PEMF? Or I have a PEMF machine. What do I do? And so you can go through our general, learn about that, and become a member. For those of you who haven't been on our website yet, we now have the AOPP merch. So we got some really great things there. We're going to be looking at things and adding to it. So every month, if we found another thing that we can add to this, that we think that you would like, we'll add it. If you have a suggestion, definitely drop a line, and we can do that too. As I'm wrapping up this series, as you know, as I get towards the end of these talks, I've got a couple of other things, because as a member of the AOPP, you get exposed to a lot of things that are going on. And we are also taking a look at as far as what's going on out there, and we want to be able to help you. And those of you that are in the know, there's a couple of states where the vet boards are only allowing the veterinarians to use PEMF on other people's animals. You could still use them on your animals, but if you try to take the device off of your dog and set it on the neighbor's dog, that you are now in your I guess, and it's your business, and you're charging a fee for that, I think that's when you cross the bounds, and that's where they want to sanction you, and you don't know what you're doing. If you know how to do it on your own dog, but you can't do it on somebody else's, they want that to be in the hands of a veterinarian. And I think it has to do with ignorance. We are, as the national organization, international organization, we're in 17 countries. We are trying to get in there and say, we're actually teaching how to do this. And I would say most likely a lot of the vets don't have this training that we teach. And if we can get them on board with that and understand what it is that we're trying to do. 10 years ago, when we started this, we knew that we would be coming up against these things. So we're actually in a really good position to help you out. So how do you do that? Well, you can ask, if you haven't already, sign our petition. You can also ask others to sign. We are now at 966. So we are 34 signatures away from 1,000, which is great. If you're watching this, you can take your device and just take a picture of the QR code. That'll take you to the change.org site where you can sign that. You can also share this with others that you know and help them help us too. Show this to your vets and let them know that, if those of you that are doing this as a business, those are good strategic partners to have, a strategic alliance, and have them help you out too. So with that, we're winding down here our where to use PEMF. Again, it is part of our 5-part series. We will be talking about the why next week, and looking forward to adding to that, and then showing you, why should you use PEMF? What's the difference? Why are we using PEMF versus ultrasound or TENS unit or interferential? So I'm going to kind of dive into those things as well. Some other things that you can do as well is you can like and share these, and we're actually getting out there and being seen by more people because you are liking the Facebook. Those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you're giving us a thumbs up, and that helps our algorithms pop up into other people's feeds, and then they'll be able to see us and learn stuff too. And we want to continue, like Brenda's saying, wonderful information. We'd like to continue to bring you these things. And also, if you have any ideas on things that you'd like to learn about PEMF, you can definitely contact us. Drop us a line at info@pemfprofessionals.com. And with your ideas, your merch ideas, if you have some things going on there, but also become a member. People say this, it's a cup of coffee a month to join, and to be able to be a part of a national organization where you can get education the way we do. As a chiropractor, we spend easily $350 to $400 for a 13-hour continuing education course, and we have to have, as chiropractors, we have to have 26 hours of continuing education every year. So you can become a member and get certified for far less than that, and to become a part of best practices, and of course all the stuff we have behind the paywall, where we've got some interviews and how to work with chiropractors. That's one of our things we've got going on in there. So a great way to help us out, to help us help you. And our goal is to help you become the best of the best, and grow your business too, and to help others, to help animals, and to spread the love of PEMF, I guess. But those of you that use it, it works really well. So with that, I want to thank you so much for those of you that have responded and have sent in your questions, and pop in on our Facebook and ask questions. Thank you so much. It helps us out a lot to know that we're helping you too. So with that, I will end this talk, and I will see you again next week, and we'll talk about why should you use PEMF. All right. With that, take care.